So we start the chapter off with Caesar and Law in utter panic as Caesar's just freaking the hell out. Things have gotten really messy here. I love the way Law is just kind of manhandling Caesar, like dragging a disobedient kid through a mall or something. The first page sets the scenery of Greenbit with quite a bit of distance between all three of the forces. Doflamingo uses his usual mocking and aggressive dialogue, which has always made his dialogue some of the most interesting in the series, and he demands Caesar back. Caesar reacts giddily again, and it's just so fun to watch all the expressions Oda gives this guy. He's surely one of the characters with the highest amount of expressions ever. His face is contorted into like so many different shapes and sizes. So we find out something here which I'm pretty sure we didn't know in the past and has been wondered for a while. This seems like quite a glaring technicality, but if even a criminal scientist involved with mass murder is a subordinate of a Shichibukai, they get a pardon. We also hear of a world conscription mentioned by Doflamingo as the way Fujitora was assigned to his position. Oda actually referred to an event he wanted to portray in the Marines in an SBS that happened over the time skip. Perhaps this was that event. We also hear mention of a new Admiral, and CCC said this is the way you pronounce it, Green Bull Ryokugyu. In CCC's translation, Fujitora says he feels too greatly honored when Doflamingo gives him the compliment about power. I think he's already become my favorite admiral throughout this chapter, and that's honestly a hard feat. I love how humble and appropriately reactive he is. Fujitora seems to have uncovered some hearings of the Joker nickname, but Doflamingo quickly changes the subject for his benefit. Fujitora says that if the Law Hats, the Straw Hearts, whatever you want to call them, if they're in an alliance, then they're black, but if they're not in an alliance, then their color is white. So it's safe to assume Fujitora operates on some black and white justice, where if you're black it means he'll use due force against you, and if you're white, you're in the clear. Black and white, no in-betweens. Law does a very noble act here and says that he is, in fact, allied with Straw Hat Luffy. It's just as easy to lie, but it took some real balls to pull off what he did here. He respects their alliance that much, and he knows Luffy would have done the same for him. Honestly, this warmed my heart. Some people try to peg Trafalgar Law as just some pretty boy, but he's much more than that, and this chapter actually showed some character development. Fujitora summons down a meteor to rain hell down on the group. Both Law and Doflamingo are petrified, and that's probably the biggest oh shit face we've seen from either of them. Law activates his room ability so that the meteorite is within his surgery room type thing so he can operate on it and cut it in half. Law, Doflamingo, and Fujitora protect themselves from the debris. It seems that Fujitora protected himself with something like, gravity, a barrier, whatever. A lot of people are assuming he has some sort of gravity fruit. Well, we've had similar fruits in the series, so this is possible, but the sky's the limit with Oda. Alright, so this scene is pretty legendary. Law, Fujitora, and Doflamingo are all left on tiny pillars of rock amidst all the destruction. Doflamingo is legitimately freaking out, and it's hilarious and refreshing to see. Apparently, for Fujitora, raining a meteor down on people is just testing his strength a little bit. Seriously though, cliff scenes like this are always fun to have with the wind blowing through, and Oda had a really nice lineup of characters for that scene. Before we move on, if you'll notice, in the middle of the page where Doflamingo talks about his subordinate and Fujitora talks about pardons, Caesar has like some hearts. Guy really loves his flamingos, and who can blame him? Frankie's pretty sweet here. He knows that the plan is pretty screwed to hell at this point, so he conspires with Sanji to destroy the SAD factory. Some cute things to notice here are that the people are mistaking him for a toy, and one of the crowd members, a little boy, has the shiny, sparkly eyes, while the girl next to him has a flat expression. Similar to how some of the Straw Hats react to Frankie's super robotness, while Nami and Robin give zero fucks. Also, the chef Frankie stole the fruit from is dashing right behind him, kinda in the far distance of the panel. Next scene shows Sanji watching Gladiator Lucy on the screen kicking some tail, and of course he knows it's Luffy. I think there's even a Panda Man on this page. Why do I point? But although he's shaded, so he's to the left of Sanji's cigarette on the bottom left panel. As a side note, that's a really cool shot of Luffy on that screen. And Violet shows Sanji the map to the factory while Kinemon interrupts Sanji's little fantasy and informs him of where Kanjuro is being held. Finally, we get a really weird, almost kind of anticlimactic way to end the chapter. The after effects from the meteorite crash can even be felt where Usopp and Robin are. Yay, Usopp's using his lies again and telling one of the biggest lies he's ever told. He has them totally convinced that it was just all his conqueror's haki. Quick side note, Robin looks really stunning in that outfit. I'm a horny bastard, I know. Alright, let's move on. Now, this part is really smartly written by Oda. The dwarves refer to Usopp as Usoland, and he has a chestnut-like hat on his head. He uses the nearby statue of Norland to claim he's of his lineage. Now, this is really great. I love that Norland is coming back into the story, and as has been pointed out, dwarves were mentioned back when Norland was in the story, just for a brief little panel like when he was telling the story to the kids. This could be either foreshadowing by Oda, or Oda just knew he would use dwarves, so he had a character mention them and managed to connect it to Norland. But either way, the end result of tying things together is still impressive. The dwarves fully believe Usopp and they compel him to action, which is funny because there's no way that Usopp alone can stop Don Flamingo, which is what they're shouting for him to do. Is he gonna keep this facade up? It'd be rather dangerous to do so, but hey, we found out at least how he's going to get his 8,000 tiny little followers that he's always been wanting. Did you hear that with my voice back there for a few seconds? It went all like groggy Darth Vader. Anyway, great chapter, and the way it ended with Usopp was quite unusual and left us on a positive note. We learned a lot, and it seems like a lot of the subplots are really moving forward. Law's had his time to shine on Punk Hazard. Unfortunately, I think he's not going to get out of this without a major beating. Fujitora is monstrously powerful, but since Akainu can summon meteors like no tomorrow like that, I don't think it's safe to say he's above the other admirals. We'll have to see the full extent of his powers, though I somewhat doubt that'll be in this arc. Anyway, I give this chapter a straight A. Lots of little details that make One Piece chapters great, and some fairly big events happened. Thanks for watching my review, guys, and I mean, if you want to talk or something, I've got a Skype. You want to talk about music or some shit? I know a lot about music. We could talk about that. It'd be pretty chill. Anyway, see ya.